Welcome back to a brand new episode. Today we're gonna jump into a few great messages. I hope you guys are having a great week so far, and I appreciate you guys starting off your week with us here on Monday. And man, we're excited to jump into some of these messages we've had. I say this every episode, but a lot of very interesting messages. It's really interesting to see and just hear how there's things that affect you. I say this all the time, but things that affect you off the field that prevent you from reaching your full potential on the field. And so, man, we're super excited to jump into today's questions. And, man, let's get into it.
Jake from Atlanta, Georgia, who's a sophomore safety, says, I've had 2 concussions in the last year. Ever since the last one, my coaches have been easing me back in, but my parents are starting to worry about my future. Still love football, and I feel like I'm finally getting my speed and instincts back. But in the back of my mind, I keep wondering if the next hit could end everything. I feel like the concussions are holding me back mentally more than physically. I feel like I'm going to have to make a choice between a potential brain injury or the sport I love.
Wow. Yeah, you see this in a lot of players, not even just players, just athletes in general, who get an injury and you see them. This is why a lot of people say, like, once you get an injury, you never fully recover. Because there's this real mental battle that happens where your mind like fears that same injury again. An interesting way to put it is like your mind loses trust in whatever got injured. And so I say this all the time. I've suffered some really bad like ankle injuries in my life, sprained my ankles, and it's really interesting to see even years after those have healed now. My mind still struggles to trust my ankles. In fact, today I was playing football, literally today, and I went up for a one-handed catch. And while I was in the air, like you would think the only thing I'm focusing on is catching the ball. Literally while I was in the air, I felt my mind worry about my ankle. And so what you're going through with the concussion is kind of that same thing. Your body's lost trust in its ability. Not necessarily its ability, but it's lost trust in how bulletproof you feel, essentially. And so you're not wrong for worrying about that at all. As far as your parents being concerned, I think that's a very natural thing to occur. I mean, these are people that love and care about you and want the best for you. And it's definitely scary from probably a parental standpoint to see your kid go through multiple head injuries. Especially, worst case scenario, those can turn out really bad for you long term. And so I think their concern for you is really healthy. Without knowing like the rest of the dynamic, I can't really speak into that. But I think it's really healthy. But I think it's a lot of just knowing yourself. Playing through like a sprained ankle, that can be something that deems you tough, right? But if you're playing through a concussion and you're playing, even though you're still having symptoms and all those things, that makes you reckless. And so based off the question, it sounds like these are all kind of in the past and you're dealing with the residual fear aspect of it. And that's really natural. And so I want to kind of focus in on how can we get through that? What does that look like? And I'll help you out the best way that I can. I think the most important thing I can tell you, though, is your health has to come above all else. And when you're playing a sport that means a lot to you, especially football, and your health is becoming a risk, then, man, you really have to make a tough decision. And the decision is something I can't help you with. But if you're going on, what did he say, two concussions now? Mm-hmm. You start to get up there and it's just dangerous to get like repetitive concussions over a long or short span of time. And so you really need to start asking yourself some questions. I think depending on your level, if you're in high school, right, and you're playing football as something that's just fun to you, and you're finding yourself getting concussions multiple times, and football is in a long-term career for you, then it may be time to hang up the cleats. And I hate to say that. That's something I would not want to do, something I would hate to recommend to somebody. But at the very least, at the very minimum, baseline is you have to protect your health. Because if you're not looking, I'm gonna say it like this: if you're not looking to make this a long-term career, risking your body's health and it's like your mental state, especially on something that you're not looking to make a long-term career, that's a dangerous mindset to get into, and one that I don't know that I'm comfortable recommending to you. And so I would ask a lot of questions to myself, like, what does this look like long term? Is this something that is this a sport I enjoy playing just as a recreation, or is this something I'm wanting to make a career out of? What does that actually look like for you? And then based on that answer, I think you'll find a lot of clarity in your next steps.
I would also just listen to what your doctor has to say, talk to them. They're going to know a little more than you just. It sounds like you have more of an anxiety about getting another concussion. Not necessarily that one is, I mean, you may still be struggling with the effects of a concussion now, but I would speak to your doctor, see what they think and what your best decision would be.
Yeah, they're the doctors will be able to tell you too, because I'm not a doctor, I don't know, but they'd be able to tell you like if you're more prone to concussions now, or maybe you just got hit in a weird position twice in a row, and like you're like the guy that got struck by lightning twice. I don't know. I can't tell you that based off of just where my knowledge, but they would be able to tell you and probably give you a little bit of either encouragement or validation, and like, yeah, you probably should be playing careful, or you probably, you have room to not play reckless, but you shouldn't be fearing this every time. It shouldn't be holding you back. And I think hearing that from a medical professional, especially, will give you clarity. Like if they're like, yeah, man, definitely don't be like leading with your head on every hit or at all, really. But like, you don't have to be sitting here and worrying about this every single play. And if they tell you that and it comes from a medical professional, you may find a lot of encouragement and a lot of hope in that, and it may resolve some of that anxiety you're feeling. But I'd imagine a lot of the anxiety is internal. And if you're like me, I'm a hypochondriac, so things freak me out a little easy.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, I'm a pretty big one. And so, man, I think just to get personal with you and reflecting in my own life, with the advice of medical professionals, obviously, it comes down to me a mentality of I'm just going to push through it. And I had to make a decision with my ankles that it wasn't going to hold me back. And I know that's a different tier of injury than the one you're dealing with. And so I can't pretend like what I've dealt with personally is to the level you've dealt with. But I had to make a decision with my ankles that I wasn't going to let that hold me back. And so what that looks like is I've pushed through pain. I've walked off sprained ankles. In the last year, I've probably tweaked my ankles, I'd say probably 3 times. And it just happens. And it hurts. And, for a few days you can't walk or it hurts to walk. But I had to make that decision that wasn't going to hold me back. Now, I will say that decision would probably look a little different for me if, like, the doctor came in and was like, listen, bro, like, you sprain your ankle one more time, it's going to snap the ligament. You're probably not going to be able to walk good for the rest of your life, let alone run. That would probably change the answer for me personally, because the NFL and going long-term, like, through college was never the plan for me. And so I would probably have made a different decision at that point had there been a risk of long-term residual effects. And so, man, you just got to make that personal decision for yourself and sit down with yourself and be like, I'm dealing with this and I don't know what the best decision is. And ask yourself, what do I personally think that the best decision is? And I think there's a lot of value in having a conversation with yourself and being very honest with yourself. And let's put the ego to the side. Let's put everything to the side and let's focus on health and from all aspects, mental, physical, and just health overall in general, and kind of see what that looks like. But based on those things, and then talk to a medical professional. I don't know physical therapists, if you have access to those. Those they may be able to help you a little bit with like, I know. Oh, that's another big one. I know there's like some neck exercises you can do to like strengthen your neck a little bit, which supports your head better so you're not as vulnerable to concussions. That would be a huge one. Let's talk to a coach, and then let's talk to like a friend or a family member, and try to just have somebody walk you through maybe like the emotional side of it, the genuine anxiety. And that can be helpful. Just make sure you're wise with who you choose to talk to you about those things. But man, take advantage of the people around you. God puts people around you for specific reasons, and some of those people may be able to shine some light into your situation that would help you really specifically. And somebody that knows every aspect of your situation, or at least most of the aspects, will be able to shine a lot more light on it than I can from my seat. But I think whatever you decide to do, you've got it. If unfortunately you do have to hang the cleats up, bro, I think you made a smart decision. I don't think you gave up because you were weak. I think you made a smart decision for the longevity of your life and your health. And anybody who would shame you for that is not in the right headspace to be able to make a judgment call in your life. Whichever way you go, you make the decision that is best for you, and not based on anybody else, and that's what matters most. But man, I hate you're in this situation, but I think you've got it, and just make the best decision for you.
Bottom line is take care of your body, listen to your doctors. They'll be the ones that can give you the best advice in this situation.
You've got it, bro. I believe in you.
Cade from Rogers, Arkansas says, my girlfriend and I have been dating for 2 years, and she's been with me through my whole football career. Recently, she told me she wants me to stop playing because she's scared I'll get seriously hurt. I understand where she's coming from, but football has been my dream since I was a kid, and I still have another year of eligibility. I feel stuck between choosing the game I love and someone I care about.
Yeah, man, that's a common occurrence. You see that happen a lot. I don't think your girlfriend's being unreasonable, but just to be completely honest with you, I think you have a decision to make. Communication is going to play a huge role in navigating her feelings towards this, and also communicating your desire to play football. You see a lot of this, like a lot of times it's the mothers that are concerned about their sons playing football. But it absolutely does, as you get older and as you get into high school and college, it does kind of bleed into your girlfriend or your significant other being concerned about you. And that's reasonable. I think a lot of us, like, it doesn't make sense to us when we play, but I think a lot about, like, if I were to put on the other shoes and look at it from my situation, looking to, like, how I would feel if you were to play or participate in something that could end in a very bad injury, like a broken bone or a head injury or something like that. I think I would be nervous about that too. And so a lot of it's having compassion and not just getting angry because, like, she's fearing that. And I think sometimes that's really hard to do, especially as a man. But setting back and dialing it back and just shifting into a gear where you're like, man, okay, I understand how you feel, and I understand that it is inherently, like, there is a risk to football, but let's have a conversation about why I want to keep playing and why you're concerned about it.
I'm interested in how this is worded. You said you feel stuck between choosing the game I love and someone I care about. You didn't say you loved her.
Read the end of the question again?
I feel stuck between choosing the game I love and someone I care about.
Oh, interesting.
Do you actually love her? Or was this just worded weird? Because it really could be, but I would keep that in mind too.
Yeah, he's also a man, and I'm thinking about my perspective. Like, I feel like I would.
I don't know. I read into that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm reading too deeply.
Maybe. But at the same time, too, this is a thing, too. She is your girlfriend. Like, you don't have a commitment to this person. And so,
you do. Just not
at
a ring
the
on
level
it.
of, like, engaged or married, obviously. So there is a decision here about, like, hey, number one, what is my relationship with football? Like, how far am I wanting to take this? And then number two, what is my relationship with my girlfriend? How far am I wanting to take that? If I would say, like, for me personally, if she gave you a bottom line of like, you got to stop playing, or like, I can't be with you. Number one, I don't know that that's healthy. I don't know that I would.
I don't think that's necessarily healthy. She's already watched you play for 2 years. Why is she saying something
True,
now?
true. I mean, it's not, I wouldn't say
I
that
feel
part's
like that's just a
unreasonable.
conversation you have to have with her. Give me, in a nice way, very loving way, sit down with her and truly ask her why she doesn't want you playing anymore. Because it could be that you're getting hurt unless there's just a new fear that's sparked within her. Let her talk about it. But she's already watched you play for 2 years.
True.
So if this is something recent, maybe it's something that's recently popped in her head or saw something happen to somebody, talk to her and get to the root of that question.
She probably watched a TikTok that talked about a player who got an injury and it ended badly. And so that's the curse of social media, unfortunately. The question isn't who's right or wrong. That's not the question here. That's not usually the question in a lot of situations. The question is this something we can work past? Is this something we can communicate about and reach a happy medium? Or is this something that's going to ultimately break us? And that's why I said you need to compare your relationship with football and your relationship with your girlfriend and really look at those on a long-term basis. I hate to be like this, but if you're like really unsure about your relationship with your girlfriend and she's giving you the bottom line, like you have to quit football, I don't know that I would continue in that relationship. And that's just my personal advice. I'm not a relationship coach. I'm just somebody who has simply been through these situations before. And I was young at one time. I still am fairly young, but I was in high school age before. And I remember how some of those relationships got. And looking back to how they were back then to now, it's like, there's a lot of things I see now that I didn't see in the moment. And so it's a lot of communication, though. Like let's see if we can reach a medium about this. Is there a possibility for you to sit down with your girlfriend and be like, listen, I 100% hear what you're saying. I do. And I get that you're scared and I get that there's a risk and I understand all that. But I play football because it's my dream, and I play football because it's what matters to me. I play football because I have friends that play with me, and there's camaraderie, and I play for these reasons. And maybe explaining those reasons to her will help her understand, like, you're not just out there risking getting injured for just to do it, right? And also identifying what's the source of her fear. Like, what did she see that caused her to get scared? Was it a video on TikTok? Did she read something somewhere? Did somebody tell her about something? Was there an injury in the game that she was at that freaked her out a little bit? And identifying those, what that may be, may give you a little more insight into understanding her fear a little more, and understanding something. If you play wide receiver and a lineman's leg got snapped, right? Like, that's probably not going to happen to you because you're a wide receiver. You're out here, there, and there. Like, you don't really get involved in the piles all that much. And so, that can help you identify what it actually looks like and progressing forward with it. But let's take a deep breath, and let's make sure that we are communicating about this in a healthy way. Let me understand your perspective. I want to healthily portray my perspective without getting angry and coming at her. I want to be like, this is why I play. This is why I enjoy it. It's a stress reliever for me. It's something that I can do that's active, that I enjoy keeping up with. I enjoy the camaraderie. Whatever that may look like, let's try to hear her out and
She's
figure it
saying
out.
this because she cares about you.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know her, but my best guess is that she just cares about you and doesn't want you to get hurt. And whatever the reason is why she waited 2 years or she saw something recently, that's why we need to get to the root of it.
True. And if she doesn't know your motivation as well, it very easily could come across to her that you just play because you like to play. But if you've never told her, hey, like, I want to do this long term, or there's benefits internally to me, like, this is a good stress reliever, this is how maybe I get my emotions out, I just play, and that's what helped. Like, maybe identifying those for her and making those clear may help you in that situation. I think the biggest thing to take away from this, though, is just communicate about it. Resentment lasts longer than fear. So make sure that you make a decision you can live with. If you give up football just because she wants you to, and you live with resentment for, if you guys get married the rest of your life, that's not healthy, right? And so let's make a decision for you and her that you both can live with and not just slap a band-aid on it. I'm tired of arguing. Let's get over it. That prob yeah, that band-aid may hold for a while, but eventually it's going to come out in probably another way, and then you're going to have to to go down a whole rabbit hole to figure out what the root of the problems is. And so let's just make sure that we make a decision we can live with. And I think if you can do that, you'll be good. Be mature adults. Just have a mature conversation. There's no reason to be screaming and just getting nasty with each other. At the core of this, at the very core, she's concerned about you because she cares about you. And it's really, really, really easy to get away from that and be like, well, you just don't like that. You don't want me to be me. Like, you fell in love with me and now you don't want me to be. And yes, like, I get that, but let's take a breath. Let's shift down a gear and realize she's just concerned about you. And when you do that, it's like, okay, this isn't because you hate me, it's because you're concerned. That's hard to do, but if you can do that, I'm really confident you could have a good conversation that's going to lead to making a decision that you can both live with long term. So, as always, man, this is something that's like super serious and you guys are really wanting to work it out, let's talk to somebody that can help you with your relationship, whether that's a pastor, a parent, a coach, somebody. Be smart with who you're talking to. Don't just go talk to anyone because sometimes you can get really bad advice. But if you can do those things, I'm really confident that you'll be able to reach a decision and you guys will be able to make it through this and have a story to tell and give advice to people who go through this situation down the road. So you guys got this.
Devin from Boston, Massachusetts says, I entered the transfer portal and thought I'd have more offers by now, but it's been months and I'm still waiting. I'm training every day and posting my film, but it feels like everyone else is getting picked up while I'm stuck. I'm starting to wonder if I made a mistake entering the portal.
That's something a lot of people struggle with, and something I unfortunately don't have a ton of knowledge about, but I do know a few things. I've heard some people like compare it to like Wall Street, and I don't know if this is a good comparison, but like it looks so full of opportunity from the outside, and then you get in and you realize like how many people are in there and how competitive it is, and sometimes that gets really discouraging, right? And you start to question, like, I've seen some people look at other people in the transfer portal and be like, well, if they didn't get picked up, out of the portal, then I may never get picked up. And it can get really discouraging, and it definitely is something that just you go through. I feel like every player goes through it, a lot of players at least. But being stuck in the portal doesn't mean you'll be there forever. It does mean a lot of times it's time to get more aggressive with what we're doing, though. And so I advise a lot of people to like, let's do the most. Let's try to build a social presence. Let's reach out to coaches. Let's just get yourself seen. I think some people get in the portal, right, and they no one knows or sees who they are. Like, they just stay low key and hope they'll get picked up. But a lot of times it's in a way kind of similar to getting like, scouted from high school into a college offer. And so if you can get yourself seen and make connections, a lot of times that'll help you out. But because I don't know a lot about the actual system itself, I do want to talk about the kind of you feeling stuck and what does that look like? Because that's a tough place to be in, right? It's hard to enter the portal and not see anything come from it. And sometimes that can be disappointing and discouraging. And so a lot of players end up feeling super stuck for a long amount of time, like a few months. I don't know. I actually don't know I don't know how long you can actually stay in the portal. That's a really good question that I am going to chat GPT after this to understand better. But I think that's a super hard thing to deal with, but it's a lot of just setting in that and letting that feed you to make you become better. Like, use that as motivation to be able to go out and do the most. Just because you've been in there longer, this is super hard, but if you can let that instead of that resonate or that sink into you as a like hit to your confidence, if you can let that build your motivation to be like, all right, bro, I've got to be more aggressive because it's been a little bit, I haven't really seen a lot happening. Let's be more aggressive. And if you can turn that confidence hit into a motivation to get better and to do more, then that is going to help you out a ton. Another thing I want to say is don't wait on the perfect offer. Uh, do what you can, what's right in front of you, and that's the most important thing you can do. And sometimes you see people in the portal, like they get an offer and they don't like that offer, and there definitely are situations where you've got to weigh them out, right? Like don't just like if you're expecting an offer from a super prestigious team or something like that, like don't just accept the the 1-star school that sends you an offer in first. But there's definitely a time to look down and be like, okay, I just need to take the next step. And there's this really great story. I don't remember where it's from or who it's by, but it's the story of I think it was like a knight on a horse back in the medieval days. And he wrote this like book, and somebody asked him like, I think it was after a huge battle, like his army had been defeated pretty badly, and he had to make it back to their base. And he looked down, he had to make it through like tremendous like fog. There's enemy soldiers everywhere. Like it was a rough situation, and he had no idea where he was going. And he made it back to his base eventually. And somebody asked him, "How did that happen?" And he said it was so foggy, I couldn't see anything. I couldn't see anything around me. I was confused. I was disorientated. He said, but I just looked down right in front of my horse. I looked down. He said, and I just focused on that next step. This is the only thing I'm sure about right now is we're going to step here or a step here. He said, I wasn't looking off in the distance. I wasn't looking in the future. I wasn't doing any of that. I was looking down, and I was taking my next step one at a time, just kept stepping one foot in front of the other because that's what I could control right now. Those are the things that were in my control that I could be sure of. And a lot of times, especially in the portal and different places, you keep looking so far off, and I'm guilty of this, so I am absolutely preaching to the choir right now. But there's a lot of times that you have to just look down, and you have to be like, man, I hate where I'm at right now, but this is what I can control is what's right in front of me. And maybe I don't like this offer, but that's what's right in front of me, so I'm going to do that to the best of my ability. I'm gonna keep just one foot in front of the other, no matter what it takes. I'm just one foot in front of the other, and then eventually, what's gonna happen after you one foot in front of the other and you're operating in excellence? You're gonna look back and you're gonna be like, bro, I traveled so far just because I kept walking. I didn't stand still. It's a lot of that shark mindset, right? A shark has to keep moving to survive. If it stops for too long or it goes backward, it dies, and so just adapt that mindset. Let's keep going forward, one foot in front of the other, and do the most. Let's get visible on socials. Let's reach out to coaches, make connections, reach out to people. Just do the best you can. And I think as long as you don't get dormant and you keep putting one foot in front of the other, I think something will happen for you eventually. But let's control the things we can control, operate in excellence in those things, and I think you can. I think you can do it. Don't get more complacent each day. Get hungrier every day. And as long as you do that, I'm confident you'll make it out.
So I agree with what you said. Just control what you can right now, whether you get an offer or not. You just have to do what you can now, no matter what happens. You can't control what happens. So just do what you can.
Yeah, don't get discouraged. I mean, it's easy for me to say don't get discouraged from my chair, right? Because I'm not in your situation. But I would challenge you to look back at your life. And I don't know who you are. I've never met you. I don't know. But a lot of times when I get in situations like this where I get discouraged, I like to look back at what else happened in my life. And I specifically like to look back at situations where like I felt so hopeless and like nothing was going to happen. And I look back to when I graduated high school, actually. Dude, I had no idea what I was going to do, and I felt like nothing was going to happen. I was like, bro, what am I? Like, I had no idea. And that was so discouraging. And there was not much anybody could say to me that was going to make me feel better. I talked to so many people, and there wasn't a lot of things they could say. But one of my mentors sat down with me one day, and he told me that same thing. He said, "Listen, bro, like, there are things that you can control and things you can't control. And even though you can't see the future right now and you're questioning and you don't like the path you're on, what you can control is your next step. And you can control doing things with excellence. And so wherever that takes you, whether that takes you to McDonald's, whether that takes you to President of the United States, you're going to operate to the best of your ability because you are holding yourself to a standard." And that advice single-handedly was some of the best advice I ever received. And in fact, I credit a lot of my advice, or a lot of my life, to that advice, because taking that next step, controlling what you can control and not worrying about what you can't. Because when you start worrying about things you can't control, that starts affecting your ability to control what you can control, because you're wasting mental space on things that are out of your control. So if you can reallocate that mental space that you're giving to things that are out of your control to things that are in your control, you'll be unstoppable. Focus on that next step, and I promise you've got it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that something in this video has helped you, resonated with you. And man, if you have anything that we can help walk you through, or any questions, anything for us, there's a link down in the comments that allows you to submit a story, a question, anything you may have related to football. Submit that in the comments, and we will do our best to answer it and help you out in any way you can. Leave a like and subscribe. That helps us out a lot, and we will see you guys in the next one.